Hi student, how are you? I hope you all are doing well. So today I'm going to start the classes. So I'm starting with the subject economics. And in economics, I'm starting with Indian economy. Okay. Within a few months, you all are going to face, you are all are going to appear for the 2023 pre-examination. So now I'm focusing on 2023 preliminary examination. So let's start the session. So, you know, like I'm focusing on UPSC preliminary preparation strategy and in Indian economy. So the thing is that in economics, so we are going to study about the economics. So first of all, we need to understand the meaning of economics. What is economics? So economics is an optimal use of resources, or simply say efficient use of resources. Means whatever the resources you have, whatever the limited resources you have, within that you need to manage your all work. That is economics. So in a household, the housewife are a good example of economics because they have a very limited amount of money. Within that money, they have to manage their house. So that's why we can say housewife is a good economist. So economics are of two types, that is microeconomics and macroeconomics. What is microeconomics and what is macroeconomics? So, first of all, like let's discuss the syllabus detail of Indian economy, and then we will start the topic by topic. Okay. So, like jack of all trade but master of none. So, what's the proverbs means? The proverbs means you don't require to be master in economics. You know the basic concept of economics and how to apply the concept of economics in current affairs. That's it. If you know the techniques, if you know the behavior, how you are going to apply the basic concepts of economics with the current affairs, then it's quite enough. Need not to mastery within the subject because your optional is not economics. Okay. So I'm teaching, since 2011-12. So I have a more than 10 years experience of teaching in UPSC. So I have gone through the detailed analysis of the UPSC examination, and what I have found that every year in preliminary examination 15 to 16 questions comes. So that's why I am saying economic subject is very important. So we need to focus much more on it. Okay, because every year you will get 15 to 16 questions in preliminary examination. So that's why it's very important subject. Okay, so let's start with the syllabus. We will start from the introduction of the economics, then national income aggregates, the third is inflation, the fourth one is taxation, then fifth one is what? Banking, RBI, NBFC. Then sixth one is what? Fiscal policy, government budgeting, and finance commission. Seventh one is what? Financial markets. Planning. Eighth one is what? Planning. Then subsidies, agriculture, industry and services, investment models, infrastructure, inclusive growth, and international organization. That's it within the Indian economy. So, in introduction part, we need to discuss what is economics and the types of economics and how the types of economics interrelated with each other. Okay, that's we will discuss the introduction part, like economics, types of economics, that is the macroeconomics and the microeconomics. Okay, so what is economics? We have discussed that efficient and optimal use of resources is economics. What is macroeconomics? So, if we study in aggregate form or total form, for example, employment, inflation, poverty, national income, so GDP, GNP, NNP and NDP, these are the examples of a macroeconomics. It means within macroeconomics, we study the aggregate form or total form or collective behavior. Like if we are studying employment, so employment is a collective term. We are talking about the country employment. We are talking about the country inflation. We are talking about the country GDP. We are not talking about the individual employment, individual GDP. So that's why when we study in total form or collective form, so that branch of economics is known as macroeconomics. Then your second category is what? Microeconomics. By the name it is clear, micro means a small. So in microeconomics, we study in detail for a particular things or study everything in detail as an individual concept. For example, let us suppose if I am willing to buy a car, it's my individual decisions. It's my individual decisions to buy a car. So if I'm willing to buy a car, so it means I'm willing to flow of money in the market. So definitely my individual decisions affects the macroeconomics. Okay. So microeconomics affects the macroeconomics and microeconomics decision impact on the macroeconomics. So let's discuss what is demand and what is supply. Demand and supply. What is demand and what is supply? So demand is what? Demand is a quantity of goods that a consumer is willing to buy at different prices. Demand is a quantity of goods that a consumer is willing to buy at different prices. That is demand. And what is supply? Supply is a quantity of goods that producer is willing to sell at different prices. That is supply. So, if we, discuss the syllabus in details, so like we have discussed the introduction part. That is the introduction part. Like economics, types of economics, that is the macroeconomics and the microeconomics. Okay, so like here in introduction part, I have discussed the economics, what is macroeconomics and what is microeconomics. Then in national income aggregates, so in national income aggregates we need to study GDP, GNP, NNP and NDP. What is the national income? What is the gross domestic product? What is the gross national product? What is the net national product? And what is the net domestic product? So these are we are going to study within the national income aggregates. Okay. Then inflation. Within the inflation, what is nowadays Russia Ukraine war is going on. So how it impacts on inflation in our country. So we need to study like in details. Then the taxation, taxation. There is two category of taxation, direct tax and indirect tax. It means whatever the goods and services we are producing, selling and giving the services, everywhere we are giving the tax to the government. Everywhere we are giving the tax to the government. So we will study in detail about the number of taxes that we have. Okay. Then the banking sectors, like the bankings, RBI, NBFC. Okay. So, like banking reforms, we need to study. RBI guidelines, we need to study. Functions of RBI, non-banking financial companies, we need to study. Then we need to study the fiscal policy, government budgeting, and the finance commission. Okay. Then we need to study the financial markets. What are the financial markets? Like the shares and all. Okay. Like we need to study the planning. So the planning commission, the Niti Aayog, and the 5-year plan, and 12 5-year plan, 13 5-year plans and all. So within that we need to study. Then the subsidies, the government will provide a subsidies in a different sectors, like the LPG subsidies that government providing, direct transfer money program. Okay, so these all comes within the subsidies, so we will study in details. Then the agriculture sectors. So in agriculture sectors, like minimum support price, and there are a number of like the fertilizers and also we need to study a number of things within the agriculture. Then the industry and services, small scale industry, large scale industries and all, and whatever the services that are offered, so we need to study within that. Then investment models, like foreign direct investment, and also we need to study within the investment model. Then the infrastructures, like the government of India developing the infrastructures like in airport, like you know airport, oils, port, road, uh, in triple P mode, public private partnership, and also we need to study within that. Then the 14th one is what? Inclusive growth. So what do you understand by inclusive growth? Right, uh, let us suppose our GDP is growing in a very good manner. It doesn't mean we are growing in a good form. If we are inclusive, inclusive growing, then our growing is good. So inclusive means in terms of education, in terms of health, in terms of the per capita income, in terms of the purchasing power. If inclusively our growth rate is good and fine, then we say, yeah, it's an inclusive growth. So we need to study in detail inclusive growth. Then the international organization. There are different international organization that maintain some um, rules and norms, like the international trade and also IMF, and world trade and all. So we will study in details. So I think you all first of all take the picture of this. Take the picture of this. Then I will start the national income aggregates, because we have done the introduction part. Then we will start with the GDP, GNP and all. Okay. So you have taken the screenshot. Can I rub it? Okay, fine. So we will discuss GDP, GNP and NNP and then NDP. Okay. So we are going to discuss these four terms. It's very important. It's very, very, very important. It's very important. Can you tell me, means among GDP, GNP, NNP and NDP, which one is used to measure the economy of India? Let us discuss with the perspective of India only. So which one measure is good? Which one measure is good to measure the economy? So can you answer? Okay. You all know, you read in the newspaper, you are reading in the newspaper, GDP. That is the gross domestic product, right? So if you are answering this question, so definitely you will tell, sir, GDP, because gross domestic product. In newspaper, like our GDP is 5%, 6%, sometimes it's 7%. So GDP is a measure of economy, but it's not true. In real manner, NNP, this one, NNP, NNP, that is net national Net national product. Net national product. This one is a better measure to measure the economy. But before 2009, before 2009, it was using, before 2009, it was using as a measure of economy in India, net national product. But since 2009, the G20 summit, G20 summit has suggested to use the measure of economy as a GDP as a measure of economy, GDP as a measure of economy. So since 2009, Indian government using GDP as a measure of economy. So why this happen, what is the merit and demerit and all, why net national product is not suitable. So we will discuss in detail. Actually, first of all, we need to discuss this GDP, GNP, NNP and NDP. Then I'll also discuss why Indian government left net national product as a economic measure rather than now using the GDP. What is the reason? So there are so many reasons, like the remittances outflow, because our Indian are working, a number of Indian are working in different European countries. So they send their money as a remittances. So there are a number of factors, which is the reason why Indian government has chosen the GDP as a measure of economy. So I'll discuss later. First of all, we need to discuss GDP, GNP, NNP and NDP. So let's discuss. Before this, we need to discuss depreciation. So what is depreciation? Depreciation is like that ki if there is any capital assets, so annually there is a 10% degradation in their value. That is only the meaning of depreciation. It means, let us suppose, if I buy, let us suppose I have buy a car of 10 lakhs, worth of 10 lakhs. So this is like 2022. So after the completion of 1 year, the market value of a car is the deduction of 10% of that base value. So it means 10 lakhs minus 1 lakh, that is the 9 lakhs. So after 1 year, the value of car is what? 9 lakh. So every year there is a 10% depreciation. Okay, so that is the meaning of depreciation. So we need to discuss, because before depreciation we are not able to understand the GDP, GNP, NNP and NDP. So yes, okay. Then GDP. What is GDP? GDP. Gross domestic product. Gross domestic product. You know, here domestic. If there is a term domestic, it means it refers to India. It refers to what? India. Gross domestic product. So, gross domestic product, it doesn't consider the depreciation. It doesn't consider the depreciation. So, within GDP, like we doesn't consider the depreciation. So, that comes within the what? GDP, gross domestic product. So, like, you know, India, within the territory of India, whatever the goods and services are produced, produces, okay, that comes within the GDP. But here we are not considering the depreciation. Not considering the depreciation. So GDP means whatever the goods and services produces within the territory of India, all counts within the GDP. And within GDP, we are not considering the depreciation. So that's why GDP we take as a measure to measure the economy, GDP, because there is no tension of calculation that depreciation. Here, just within gross domestic product, we need to calculate the good and services, whatever the goods and services produce within the territory of India. That's it within the GDP. Okay. Then, you know, gross national product. What? Gross national product. GNP. Gross national product. Gross national. Gross means not considering the depreciation. Gross net product. Net is what? Net means national. Okay, so gross national product is, national means Indian. What? Indian. So whatever the goods and services are produced by the Indian, whether they are present in India or outside the India, the condition is that they must be Indian. So it is comes in GNP, gross national product. It comes within GNP, gross national product. Okay, so It depends on Indian, not on India, not on territory. So the simply is it's related to Indians. So are working. Indians are also working outside the India. So they sends the money regularly in India in form of remittances. Okay. So whatever the goods and services produced by the Indian either in India or outside India, that comes within the GNP, and we not considering not considering depreciation, not considering not considering depreciation. Okay. Then the third one is what? NNP. What? NNP. And it is the best measure. It is the best measure for economy. Why? It is net national product. What? Net national product. Here national, it means Indian. Net means what? Indian. It means net national product. So net means we are considering the depreciation. So net national product means we are considering the depreciation. We are considering the depreciation. It means national means Indian. It means whatever the goods and services produced by the Indian within India and outside India. Okay. Minus depreciation. Minus depreciation. So